A bridge is a structure that connects one side of an expanse to another. Bridges make the journey easier by smoothing out transitions. They make the journey richer by offering new perspective. Other times, they are so seamless that we hardly are aware of traveling them. Lev Vygotsky placed a symbolic bridge in his zone of proximal development. He called this bridge the more knowledgeable other. The MKO facilitates learning by connecting concepts and broadening perspective. With this support, students can acquire higher levels of learning. For my Action Learning project, I wanted to see if young adult literature could function as the MKO, bridging student understanding of a concept that appears in two different texts written many years ago. My goal was to help students move from a narrow understanding of the concept of lottery as it is represented in one text to broader knowledge of the social justice implications in another text. For this lesson, The Lottery, a short story by Shirley Jackson, represents one symbolic shore. On the other side is County Cullen's poem entitled Incident. The bridge between the two is a collection of young adult memoirs called Going Where I'm Coming From, collected by Ann Mazer. I implemented my lesson plan with a group of high school students, 5 boys and 1 girl, 4 freshmen and a pair of seniors, who volunteered 90 minutes of their spring break to help me. We began with Cullen's poem, which depicts the impact of racial hatred on a child. My students identified the racism and felt that it was sad, but none of them identified the abstract concept of lottery functioning within the text. Before reading Jackson's story, we conducted our own lottery. Prizes included candy, the use of a special reading chair, and optional online biographies from achievement.org in place of the bridge text. Then we brainstormed to come up with a definition for lotteries. My students decided that winning a lottery involves chance, and prizes represent varying degrees of good. After a dramatic reading of the lottery, 4 students expanded the definition of lotteries to include the caveat that winning could be a negative thing. Of the remaining students, 1 felt negative lotteries were a thing of the past, while another was undecided. Students worked in pairs, using Bubble Us to create concept webs that illustrated their understanding of lotteries. None of my students had ever used Bubble Us. However, after a brief 2-minute demonstration, they were bubbling away like pros. The tool does occasionally get glitchy. This happened with one team who was unable to complete their web as a result. Although reading the lottery increased comprehension, expanding their definition to include the possibility of a negative result, their concept webs reflected a myriad of positive associations. Students could not yet form a concrete connection with Cullen's poem. Furthermore, they viewed themselves removed from lotteries with negative implications. Some of their written responses to the text reflect this. Next, using a jigsaw strategy, each student chose a short memoir or biography to read. Their task was to respond to the stories by identifying and evaluating lotteries and adding the examples to their concept webs. Then students used their responses to compile a list of elements that function like a lottery. As a result of reading the bridge text, their definition of lotteries expanded in 2 ways. First, the concept of lottery can be used to describe the events in life that we cannot control. Next, students decided that the result of a lottery could have both positive and negative connotations for the same person. Likewise, something viewed as positive by one person might be viewed as negative by another. Clearly, Mazer's text had contributed to the students' comprehension of the concept of lotteries, but did it bridge their understanding from Jackson's text to Cullen's poem? The answer is yes. A text can function as the MKO and help students to extend learning. On the second reading of Incident, Students were able to identify the racial prejudice experienced by Cullen as a type of lottery. They also acknowledged family of origin as a lottery. While my schedule constraints did not allow us to complete the lesson, students did have the opportunity to experience how one text could support comprehension of another. At the end of class, I asked them to share their opinions about the usefulness of the bridge text. Here are some of the comments recorded on their exit slips.